Okay, yeah, great.
Sure. Forget the press releases. When a band breaks up, there's some wounds there. There is this like stigma and shame that comes when you're a victim of suicide. We are blatantly a Christian band. We don't apologize for it. The name Third Day is the day of resurrection. That would be AI for evil. It's not that AI is going to take your job. It's that someone who knows how to use AI is going to take your job. There we go. Get on the bus with Third Day.
Get on the bus.
As silly as this sounds, how many times we hear stories about, I was wearing a Third Day shirt and someone said, what is Third Day? And I actually had the opportunity to not tell them about your band, but to tell them about the day of resurrection.
Advice to people who have someone in their life who is grieving.
Grief is like a weighted vest. It's always with me, but don't confuse me high functioning mean I'm not grieving.
Yeah.
Donald Miller, in honor of you, it's blue like jazz.
Oh, no way.
Because it's a blue jazz bass. I hope the AI is really good on this audio because it's loud out here.
And I'm trying to walk and not fall.
I know.
Come with me backstage at the Third Day 30th Anniversary Tour. Tai Anderson from the band shares what it's been like going back on tour after an 11-year break. We all at some point in our lives will have the opportunity to comfort someone during a time of tragedy. How do you do that well? Tai's advice is priceless and important. Learn about Tai's new book titled Market Like a Rockstar and some great insights on the future of AI.
Welcome to the Salty Christians YouTube channel. My name is Matt, hanging out backstage at the Third Day 30th Anniversary Tour. Tai, welcome to the Salty Christians.
Good to be here. Thank you so much.
What's it been like going back on the road with these guys?
Well, it's been amazing, but I was told this was a walk and talk. So
Okay,
why
well,
are we sitting still?
Let's walk. You got to show me some stuff behind here.
So there's so many cool things.
Yeah.
We'll come out this way. It has far exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
When I walked off, when I sort of left the band, went into the corporate world, into the marketing space, 11 years ago, I truly had this whole part of my life and this part of my identity. I really just released that to God. And I feel like when you're open-handed, you're giving things to God, but then God can give you blessings as well back into it. And that's what this tour has been. Never expected it, wasn't part of the master plan, never thought it was going to happen. But it has far exceeded any of my wildest dreams, starting with the relationships in the band, closer than ever, just a genuine affection. And then the relationship with the fans, the crew, the production, it has been world class.
Yeah. I've been following you on Instagram and seeing, the posts each night, and it just seems like you got the boys back together and you're going on the road for a little while.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I think everyone in the band, everyone has a full-time job.
Yeah.
I work in the marketing space. Mark is a teacher. Okay. David's a full-time photographer. And Mac is a full-time solo artist. Yeah. So he's still been in music, so most familiar for him. But as this tour's gotten out, just all of us, this combination of like reminiscing about these past times with Third Day and these memories, but at the same time, in the present, this tour has just been really special, and it's felt like something like it feels like we're better than we've ever been. And that's a really cool feeling. And looking out every night, you just see people weeping with some of these songs that have helped them through hard seasons, and I think about songs that have helped me through hard seasons. And truly an honor.
Well, speaking of hard seasons, so one of the reasons I reached out to you was I saw a post that you did on Facebook about 2 years ago, and you talked about the stigma that comes with suicide. And let's go up here on the stage. But this video, and I'm going to link it on the below here on the YouTube channel, but it was really powerful. Like, not only for you to open up and be vulnerable, but the message that you had to share was so important.
That was something that had been brewing for a while. And I think I had watched this professor, I think it's Haidt, and he talks a lot about this anxious generation and all the challenges that have come with social media and with cell phone uses, and it's brought these challenges that we didn't grow up with. And it just hit me when I was watching this. I lost my daughter, it's been now 7 years ago, and there is this like stigma and shame that comes when you're a victim of suicide. As I feel like, I don't try to live as a victim. I try to live, maybe it's better to say a survivor of suicide, but losing my daughter, even where there's times where you feel like if I say, I lost a child, there's sympathy, or they're starting the music. We might need to go backstage.
It sounds great though.
Okay, yeah, we'll interrupt and we'll get back to the serious question. So this is really fun because obviously as a bass player, you could play the show with one bass and be fine. But as we're doing all the hits and going through our catalog, I've been able to, I bought a couple new basses. It's nice to have some corporate money to feed the addiction, but able to have some that are just like, this was an old staple that I used to play in, but I changed out the pick guard, and we had some a company, they actually took a laser etching to match my shirt, this really cool cup. So this is a bass I used to play, but I refreshed it, starting with that. Whenever I go to the ballads, I like to move some air, so I have my 5-string. Of course, the basses are all named. So the first one I call Sunny because it's a sunburst. Okay. But I call it Sunny D because it's a diamond anniversary. If you see on the right up there, you got the diamond anniversary, and so I call it Sunny D for Sunny Diamond. And then I have the Black Beauty because this is a horse. It's heavy, and that's my 5-string. Now, I'm a marketer, and the next bass I go to, definite marketing hero, I know him from an author who used to come travel on the road with us, Donald Miller. In honor of you, it's Blue Like Jazz. Oh, no way. Because it's a blue jazz bass. Yeah. So Blue Like Jazz comes out next. Probably get to play this on the most songs. That's amazing. Beautiful bass. The video you referenced, you know, when I lost my daughter, for a while, it's very easy for me to say, you know, I lost my daughter, or my daughter passed away. If I add sort of and I don't owe anybody anything more than that. I don't owe anybody anything, and nobody does if you've gone through grief or a loss. But it's a whole different thing if I say I lost my daughter to suicide, because then it feels like there's this stigma of, what did you do wrong as a parent? Was she depressed is normally what people ask. There's all of these questions that, you know, people don't understand the context of, you know, my daughter who I love with all my heart, and I miss every second of every day. Like, don't confuse being high functioning, meaning it doesn't mean I'm not grieving. It means it's like grief is like, I work out, I do CrossFit, and every year we have this big event called Murph, where it's this big, people will know it, where you run a mile and you do pull-ups and push-ups and air squats, then you run a mile. And when you're really advanced, you wear a weighted vest. But what you find is that people that wear the weighted vest, even though it's that extra load, they're usually the people that perform the best anyway, because they're at that level. And that's what I've experienced, is that grief is like a weighted vest. It's always with me, but don't confuse me high functioning mean I'm not grieving. Take it with me, but I have other kids. I have other responsibilities, and I don't always get the luxury to say, I'm just gonna kind of feel sorry for myself. The grief comes in waves, and I feel it every day. There's a point there's not a day I don't say my daughter's name that I don't feel it, but I don't need to plan my grief because I know it's gonna come. So I don't have to like schedule my grief. I just go, I'm gonna feel it when it comes, I'm gonna dig in, I'm gonna let that wave hit me. But it's also, I've tried to, you know, since I made that video, I've tried to get more in the habit of actually saying I lost my daughter to suicide. Because part of what I want to do is sort of remove that stigma for other parents out there that have gone through what I have, where it's almost like people have their sympathy until they hear that and they take it away because it can be replaced with judgment. And I know no one would say that, but that's what it can feel like. And so I want to sort of help other people and myself move past that, to go, you know, it's been a long time to grieve, to some healing, to move on, and to know that, you know, my daughter is going to be waiting for me in eternity. It's just a whole different perspective where there's so much on this world where I actually can enjoy it more in a weird way, just life, because I just have that blessed assurance of seeing my daughter again and experiencing eternity with her. And mental health is such a hard thing. We don't talk about it enough. What you reference with Anxious Generation is, at the time, it was like my daughter was that first generation at just 11 years old getting a phone. And I really just encourage parents now that, we have the science is out, it's coming, like really be intentional with your kids, not to just allow the whole world to have access and to be speaking to their lives, and especially for young girls, that comparison on Instagram and always feeling less than. When you and I were growing up, if we didn't get invited to a party, we didn't even know it.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they have to see it. And so there's this perfection that's out there, like how do you ever measure up?
Yeah.
And so definitely have a passion to help people pass some of that.
We gotta get you back because the show's gonna be starting, but advice to people who have someone in their life who is grieving, because you talk about how a lot of times they don't know what to say and then they don't say anything at all.
Yeah. I think we're playing in our set tonight a song called Nothing at All. Okay. If you can't say nothing good, don't say nothing at all.
Yeah.
Very true, good principle, good biblical principle. However, what I find is when I've gone through seasons of grief, I don't remember anything that anybody says. Yeah. And everyone always starts a conversation with, I don't know what to say. Well, no one knows what to say, but I do remember who was there. Mm-hmm. So what I'd encourage anybody, if you have a friend who's suffering from a significant loss or experiencing that, just be there. Yeah. Don't worry about a script. Just your presence is the presence. There's nothing you can say that's going to lessen that grief. Don't even try. Just they will remember that you were there physically. Yeah. So when I have friends or people, and sadly it's happened more than I would ever want, but on 4 different occasions I've heard news of other dads that have lost children to suicide, and whether I knew them well or not, I am at their front door just to give them a hug and love on them and feel like there is power. Some grief has to be shared. Yeah. And I think that is a way that all of us can minister, and when you've suffered grief yourself, a great expression is don't waste it. Don't waste your grief. As long as I'm here, I want to use the hard things I've gone through to be able to encourage other people. Yeah. And, that's, Donald Miller talks about in the hero's journey a lot in Story Brand. It's like heroes and villains are very similar. The common ground is pain. Yeah. Think about, Harry Potter, Luke Skywalker, all orphans, Spider-Man, all orphans live with their uncle. They've gone through a tough loss. The villains have also gone through loss. Scar from The Lion King. Yeah. There's like these wounds. Often they're orphans too. The hero goes through pain and says, I don't want anyone else to feel this. Yeah. And the villain goes through pain and says, I want everyone else to feel this. So all of us, what I challenge is, what we don't want to be is a victim who just sits in the pain. When you go through something hard, think about how you can use your experience to help other people, and that is where the healing is.
Amen.
But you can see the show is just magical. Yeah. It's just a fraction of some of the production elements. It's world class, and the whole vibe with the openers, the crew. Like even right now, the technology, he recorded last night's concert, so he's using last night's concert for Zach Williams to shoot in the room and do their sound check. The band's not even there. Unreal. Yeah, unreal. That's a good example of AI. Yeah, I
mean. Well, so talking about marketing, you have a thing called Market Like a Rockstar. Explain that to people.
So basically, when I left music to the corporate world, it was like, oh, you're just in music. Yeah. What do you know about marketing? And I'm like, nothing. What I know about is making fans. And if your goal in your marketing is just to attract customers, you're really missing it. Because the sustainability of any brand is not can you get someone in the door, but do they leave that encounter more likely to tell other people about you. And that's when your marketing becomes not about ad spends, but about great service, creating a great culture, and delivering. So I've developed a whole framework, Market Like a Rockstar. I've been teaching classes over the last 10 years. And with this tour coming out, I've actually finished my manuscript, and I'm aiming to have my book published by June, where I take lessons from music and apply it for your business, all with the heart towards service, and all with this passion that fans and creating fans is the key to sustainability. Most marketing is about strangers to customers. My passion is turning customers into champions for your brand.
Very cool. And something Third Day did very well.
Yeah, I mean, music is such a great, whether it's Taylor Swift or Third Day or sports, we understand fandom, but we don't think that's available to in our businesses, but it absolutely is. Think about your favorite brands. Yeti. I have all of their suitcases. Fender, as we're showing you my basses. You know, we have these brands where, you know, think about a brand like Harley Davidson. People are willing to get tattoos for. The things you're fans of, it's not about preference, it's about identity. And that's how we tell the world who we are from a distance, is these brands we love. So that's what the book's about, helping people to unpack it, giving them a system to do it, and just super excited now to take all the things I've learned in the business world and now getting to apply it back here to music. It's a full circle moment.
Full circle. Got a very cool photo booth over here.
Yeah, look at this. They got a photo booth so people can remember their experience here.
Nice.
So I haven't been out here yet, so I guess there we go. Get on the bus with Third Day.
Get on the bus.
It's so cool to have this nostalgia for our first album. But at the same time, the songs feel like more current than ever in a strange way. So, but I get to lean into some of my 90s tones a little bit. So it was a good time of music.
Yeah, it was. Well, so we're talking about music. So you are really into AI video and doing AI. I would love to get your thoughts on when AI intersects with Christian music and the creation of Christian content.
So I use AI every day. When AI first came out, certainly working in marketing, ChatGPT, AI's been around for a while, but when ChatGPT came out, the message was, marketers, you're going to lose your job. And then I saw a quote from a guy at the World Economic Forum said, it's not that AI is going to take your job, it's that someone who knows how to use AI is going to take your job. And so to me, I take that as two ways. If I decide to put my head in the sand, I very well could lose my job, or I could be the one that knows how to use it. So especially with video creation, I've dug into digital twins with HeyGen, to creating content with Google Flow and Kling and now Higgsfield. And it's just unlocked creativity where now videos I've made where would have cost $1 million 6 months ago, and I can do it in a 5-hour turn time. And anything I can think, I can do. So it's totally unlocked this creative engine with video content, with marketing. Small businesses who could never make great storytelling commercials, now you can. So
what's the key to keeping it authentic? Because I watched a video on your website and you were using your digital clone, but then the punchline of the video was you had poison ivy, so you couldn't be in it. And you talked about the authenticity, and I think that's really key.
When we can't be face to face, like today, I've got poison ivy all over my face. Definitely not camera ready, but my digital twin, he's good to go. And that's the point. AI isn't here to replace us. It's here to help us show up.
So how do we keep
what I want,
AI content authentic?
Yeah, very great question. I think for me, I'm really passionate to use AI to increase human interactions, not to replace humanity, but to make us show up as the best version of ourselves. So. In short, I teach on this, on different ethics of AI. Unfortunately, no one's going to give us those ethics. The government isn't going to do it. There's too many people with too many financial incentives to keep there being standards. But my shortcut to summarize it all, if you're using AI for efficiency, that's good. If you're using AI for deception, it's bad. So one thing like that video, I almost always reveal that it's AI, especially if it's me. I wish there was just a watermark you had to put if it was AI.
I've said that, like gluten-free. We got gluten-free on our food. Like, tell me if it's AI or AI-free.
Because there's so many ways. Like, I've used it for good. Like, I've built an online course using all avatars to help people understand budgeting and understand their credit, because I work with a lender, Supreme Lending, helping people have the American dream of home ownership. But I could also take one of your Instagram posts, clone your voice, have that say whatever you want, and deliver it where it looks like it's coming from your phone, even though it isn't, by a voicemail telling someone to wire money because you're in trouble and rip off your family. That would be AI for evil. So it can be good or evil. It's just another tool.
Yeah.
Now, with any tool, as we've seen with anything in media, there is going to be people that use it for evil, and the tendency is to throw it away.
Yeah.
But finding those ways to unlock efficiency, to unlock creativity, I've found so many applications, and Claude is my new best friend. On AI, I have it open in my dressing room. We have conversations. We're refining things. We're going, and it just allows me to get, even on the road, I can get what used to be an 8-hour workday done in about an hour in the dressing room.
Crazy.
You see that shirt, Anderson, Carr, Lee Powell? It sounds like a law firm. Yeah. So we'll handle your litigious claims.
Yeah.
Now this is as good as any. I'll say, when people ask me my favorite part of the band, I'm supposed to say that it is writing music together, that starting with nothing, coming with an idea. And then, and if I don't say that, I should say it's playing live and resonating with the audience, those times of worship, those times of rock power. Those are what I'm supposed to say. The truth is, my favorite part of the band has always been merchandise. Now think about this for your business.
Marketing guy.
I'm a marketing guy, so be nice to me. But you think about this. People pay us money to advertise for us. Think about that. Like in your business, all the things, like think about your small business, the idea that someone would say, hey, great transaction, I enjoyed that. Do you have any swag? Because I want to wear it to the gym so that other people know about you. You know, and people do that every time because they love the band. But when they love the band and they buy the merch, it's not that they're telling someone just, hey, I like this music. That's part of it. But what they're telling you is, this is who I am. You want to know a shortcut about who I am? I'm a Third Day fan. I'm a Predators fan. I was just saying that because we're here. But that looks really cool. Looks like tattoo. Well, anyway, sorry, ADD. But I love merchandise for that reason, and I've always tried to approach it as more of fashion than souvenirs. So our line, and this is even the small display if you capture our big place later, it's like really, there's just a whole vibe where you learn a little bit more about Third Day, but it's also so in touch with our fans. It's just as much a reflection of our fans and their identity.
It's also a conversation starter for them.
You know, and it's so funny, even on a spiritual level, as silly as this sounds, how many times we hear stories about, I was wearing a Third Day shirt and someone said, what is Third Day? And I actually had the opportunity to not tell them about your band, but to tell them about the day of resurrection that your band is named for. Pretty awesome. So I love the merchandise, try to keep the prices fair, try to keep people coming back. But fandom is the essence, you know, of my book. It's something out here I'm living. The end of the show for me has been going to the front of the stage and usually just walking off the stage and just being with fans for about 30 minutes. And then they're kicking them out of the venue because they want to break down the PA. But there's so many special moments there where our music it's not just a preference, it's part of people's very soul and their identity of who they are. And fandom is so important.
All right, so because this is the Salty Christians YouTube channel, I love hearing stories of being salt and light, and that looks different for everyone. But for the band Third Day, how have you guys been, you know, salt and light throughout the years? Maybe a story that comes to mind, or
I think so much of ours gets recycled back into the music. You know, when we had some friends that suffered a tough loss, and Mac wrote the song "Cry Out to Jesus," and then from that we went out and were able to use that song after Katrina to give people a lot of hope and raise a lot of money for hurricane relief down there. And then years later, we heard a story about someone who was actually driven their car into the woods to take their life, and they wanted to listen to Metallica, but they were scrolling through and all they could get was the Christian radio station, heard Cry Out to Jesus, and the music got them, and they changed their whole life. And then when we met him, he was actually serving on the mission field. And so for us, it's just this cycle of our interaction and love with our fans, and that turns back into the songs. I think that, you know, a lot of in our role as Third Day We are blatantly a Christian band. We don't apologize for it. The name Third Day is the day of resurrection. So we don't hide from it. We have achieved incredible growth, but it hasn't been through crossover. It's been through spillover, by starting by who we are, and other people want to come to the party, not trying to hide who we are, being as authentically who we are as we can. Our faith is a part of it. Our friendship's a part of it. And from that, I think on this tour right now in this season, what I'm seeing, it's let's go into catering. So this is where all good Backstage tours should end anyway. What I'm finding is right now, just where the world is in this country, everything is divided. Everything is political. Everything is polarized. Even church is political and polarized. And I think there's a lot of power in when people are at these shows, from the time the doors open through 4 hours later, there's not one bit of politics. Everyone is welcome. Every color is represented. Every political bent is represented, and we're coming together. You're going to hear the name Jesus more than you will at probably any other event. Probably a lot more than your church. We're unashamedly praising God, and there's this, and just our friendship is palpable on stage. Mac and I are giving each other hugs in between songs. We're loving each other, and I think that itself is ministry right now.
It's modeling,
right? When
getting
people
along,
see that, like, we hurt each other. We've wronged. We're in a band. We can forget the press releases. When a band breaks up, there's some wounds there. And we've been able to put that in the past and heal and love each other and have this restoration of our relationships, and then go take and model that for the world. I think it's actually the most powerful thing that we say every night is said without saying a word. It's just that here's a band that people grew up with, that went their separate ways. Now they're back together. People are telling us that's giving them hope for their own relationships, their relationships with children that maybe they're that have fallen and they're not in communication, or those strains in their marriage, those strains in their friendships. Seeing a lot of unity and healing happening on this tour. And I'll say to wrap is, there's nowhere backstage in an arena show that is quiet. So the AI on this noise reduction is going to have to do its job, because people are banging stuff down there. They got sound out there. They're going, but that is the workings of a rock and roll show on the road. And super pumped.
It hasn't even started yet.
It hasn't even started, but tonight's going to be an amazing night. A lot of artists dread coming to Nashville because they're like, oh, it's the industry. We're here now. We don't have a record company. We're just a band. We're just a band out there, and these are our fans.
It's going to be a big family reunion for you.
It's just going to be a big, there's no stress. It's just love and an amazing night.
Cool. Tai, thank you so much.
My pleasure.